Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today's topic is the gross anatomy of the lungs. The lungs may not be asked as theory question in the first MBBS exam, but it is an important topic for the practical exams. You will be given lungs in the practical exam and you have to describe the presenting parts of the lungs in the practical exams. In the theory exam, you may be asked the mediastinal surface of right lung or the mediastinal surface of left lung. Though this is an important topic for you, those who are not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now. And you just visit the playlist of important anatomy in 50 videos. If you go through the 50 videos and revise, it is sure that you may score 50 to 60% in the university exams. So do subscribe now, keep watching the videos. Now we will move on to the topic the lungs. The lungs are a pair of essential organs of respiration and they invaginate. So if you see, this is the trachea, growing trachea and the lung bud on both sides. They invaginate into the corresponding pleural sac. So this is invaginating into the corresponding pleural sac so that the pleural cavity is formed having two layers. So this is the visceral layer and this is the parietal layer. Each lung is invested by the pulmonary pleura except at the hilum and the attachment of the pulmonary ligament. We will see the hilum and pulmonary ligament in detail in the video. Before we move on to the presenting parts of the lung, it has characteristic features. Its lungs are porous, spongy in texture, highly elastic. If you touch the lungs, it crepitates to touch. If you keep the lungs in water, it floats on water. In stillborn, the lungs sink in water. Why it floats in water is you can understand that the lungs are filled with the air. In stillborn, so the air is not present in the lungs, so they sink. By this, we can identify whether the newborn babies are born alive or stillborn. If you see the color of the lungs, in newborn it is pink in color, rosy pink. In adult it is dark slaty grey due to the deposition of the carbonaceous particles in the stomata. Now we will see the presenting parts of the lung. Each lung is half conical in shape. So this is the shape of the lung, half conical in shape. Presence, lung presence, apex, base, costal surface, medial surfaces. So this part is a part of mediastinal surface is a part of medial surface. And three borders, sharp anterior border, posterior border and inferior border. So these are the presenting parts of the lung. Side determination, you have to keep the lung, how to keep the lung in anatomical position. Place the apex above. So this is above, apex above. So this is the apex. Base below, sharp thin border, anterior border in front, and the convex costal surface decides the side of the lungs. So this is the way to identify the side of the lungs in the exam. Now we will see the parts of the lung. So apex, we will see first apex. So apex, if you see, so apex is not a point, area above the impression of the first rib. If you draw the first rib here, so this is the apex of the lung. Part of the lung above the first rib and its costal cartilage is called the apex. So this much part is called the apex. We will color it with the other color. So this is the apex of the lung. So this part is present in the thoracic inlet, we have learnt, and in the root of the neck. The summit of the apex is 3 to 4 centimeter above the first costal cartilage. So this is the summit. This is 3 to 4 centimeter above the first costal cartilage and 2.5 centimeter above the medial end of the clavicle. This we have learnt in the cervical pleura also, and it does not extend above the upper border of the neck of the first rib. So this apex of the lung and its covering pleura are vulnerable to stab wound at the root of the neck. So this is the only part apex is present in the root of the neck. So this apex is vulnerable to injuries in the root of the neck, so that if it is injured, that is causing the open pneumothorax. Apex is covered by cervical pleura, which we have learnt in the pleura class, which is strengthened by the suprapleural membrane. Relations of the apex of the lung we will see. In front and behind and laterally, the relations are similar on both sides, but the medial relations differ on both sides. If you see the in front relation, we will draw this side. So if you draw, this is the neck of the first, so this is the first rib. So in front, subclavian artery. So in front, this part is related to the subclavian artery and also to the subclavian vein. So these are the structures related to first rib. So these are the in front relations of the first rib and the origin of the internal thoracic artery. So these are the relations in front of the first rib. So they are related to the in front of the apex of the lung. Behind, this apex is in contact with the neck of the first rib. So the neck of the first rib is related to 4 structures, which may be asked again in the practical exams. First rib, this subclavian artery, subclavian vein, and neck of first rib is related to sympathetic trunk, first posterior intercostal vein, 4 structures, superior intercostal artery, and ascending branch of the ventral ramus of first thoracic nerve. So this is related to the neck of first rib. So again they are related to the apex of the lung behind. Laterally, scalenus medius muscle. Medially, the relations differ on both sides. So right lung, medially apex of the lung is related to right brachiocephalic vein, brachiocephalic trunk and trachea. So this is the medial part of the apex. It is related to brachiocephalic artery and also the brachiocephalic vein and also the trachea. On the left side, left brachiocephalic vein and left subclavian artery. So we have drawn already this left subclavian artery here. So left subclavian artery, left edge of esophagus and thoracic duct. So these are the relations of the apex of the lung. So we have covered the apex of the lung in detail. Applied anatomy of apex of the lung, that is the thoracic inlet syndrome, which we have learnt in the thoracic inlet also. So if due to the compression of structures around the apex, so that syndrome is called thoracic inlet syndrome. Now we have completed the apex. Now we will move on to the base. Base of the lung, it is concave. You are seeing it is concave and semilunar in shape. Base of right lung is more concave than the left one due to the liver. Relations of the base of the lung, if you see both side relations, both base of the lung are related to the diaphragm. Upper surface of the corresponding half of the diaphragm separated by the pleural sac. Below the diaphragm on right side, liver. Below the diaphragm on right side, liver. Left side, so on right side, liver. Left side, fundus of stomach and also the spleen. So these are the relations of the base of the lung. Now we have covered the base also. We will move on to the next surface, costal surface. Costal surface is convex, smooth and related with lateral thoracic wall separated by costal pleura. It presents impressions for the ribs. If you see in this surface, you can observe, if you hold the lungs, you can observe the impressions of the ribs. So that's only it is called costal surface. And elevations for intercostal spaces. Number of ribs, upper 6 ribs. So upper 6 ribs in mid clavicular line, upper 8 ribs in mid axillary line, and upper 10 ribs in scapular plane. So these are the ribs related to the costal surface. So we have covered the costal surface also. Now we will move on to the medial surface. If you see the medial surface, it consists of two parts, posterior vertebral part. So this is, if you see this is the medial surface which we will add here. So here like this, if you add this, so medial surface has two parts, posterior part and anterior part. So this posterior part will be called as vertebral part and anterior part will be called as mediastinal surface. So we have drawn the mediastinal surface. So first we will see the vertebral part. It is flat and related with the bodies of and intervertebral discs of the upper 10 thoracic vertebra. So this part is flat. So here it is related to upper 8 thoracic vertebra and related to posterior intercostal vessels, greater and lesser splanchnic nerves in the lower part. So this mediastinal surface is very important for you. It may be asked a separate question, mediastinal surface of right lung and mediastinal surface of left lung. So we have to see which lung is asked before we answer. Impressions and relations of mediastinal surface differ in two lungs because the structures in the thorax differ on the two sides. So this impression is also different. So first we will see the right lung, mediastinal surface. So we have to see in each lung, the hilum in the first. Hilum is present in the center here, you can see. So this is the hilum of the lung, hilum and also the pulmonary. So this is called hilum and this is called pulmonary ligament. Hilum is a triangular, if you are asked to define hilum, hilum is a triangular non-pleural impression through which the structures of the lung root enter and leave the organs. The hilum represents the lateral end of the tubular lung root. So lung root is a part of mediastinal pleura. So and hilum is present non-pleural impression on the mediastinal surface of the lung. So that is the difference between the hilum and root of lung if you are asked. And this hilum is continuous with the pulmonary ligament. So the structures in the hilum we will see. So if you are asked the structures in the lung root or the hilum, both are same but different on right and left side. Arrangement of the structures within the hilum. From above downwards, on the right side, upper lobar bronchus, pulmonary artery, then the right principal bronchus and the lower pulmonary vein. From before backwards, so this is front to above downwards. From before backwards, upper pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery, so that's in the center, bronchus with bronchial vessels. So you can understand in this hilum of the right lung there are two bronchus, right principal bronchus and upper lobar bronchus. So one is lobar bronchus and another is the right principal bronchus. Because this lobar bronchus, upper lobar bronchus, if you see here in this lung, upper lobar bronchus is also given outside before the principal bronchus enter. So one is the upper lobar bronchus is above the pulmonary artery, it will be called eparterial. Eparterial. And this right principal bronchus is below the pulmonary artery and it will be called hyparterial. So this is the two bronchus in the right side. Pulmonary ligament consists of a bilaminar fold of mediastinal pleura and extends from the esophagus to the lung below the hilum. What does it contain? It contains areolar tissue, some lymph vessels and sometimes accessory bronchial artery. So these are the structures in the hilum on the right side. Now we will see the other impressions. So this impression is called cardiac impression in front of the hilum. So there is cardiac impression in front of the hilum. It's shallow, concave, and it is related mainly to the anterior and right surface of the right atrium and right auricle and part of anterior surface of right ventricle, and also right phrenic nerve. You are seeing this is the right phrenic nerve passes downwards in front of the hilum between the pericardium and the mediastinal pleura. Along with the right phrenic nerve, pericardiaco-phrenic vessels also pass. So we have seen the hilum and in front of hilum. A shallow groove is present in the postero-inferior part of the cardiac impression. That is the, so you can understand this impression is mainly caused by right atrium. So what will be attached to right atrium? In the upper part it will be the superior vena cava. In the lower part, inferior vena cava. So that will be the impressions. So this cardiac impression in the lower part lodges the impression for the terminal part of the inferior vena cava, accompanied by right phrenic nerve. And from the upper part of the cardiac impression, superior vena cava. And if you trace the superior vena cava, how it is formed? By two brachiocephalic veins. So that also cause impressions in this part. So that is brachiocephalic veins, right and left. Right phrenic nerve and pericardiaco-phrenic vessels pass along the right side of these veins. A narrow groove arches forward above the hilum and meets the vertical groove. So that is the above the hilum, a narrow groove here. So that is the arch of azygos vein on the right side above the hilum. So this is the arch of azygos vein, which opens into the superior vena cava. Before the later pierces the fibrous pericardium. Above the groove or arch of azygos vein, behind the right brachiocephalic vein, you can see the brachiocephalic trunk also. So this brachiocephalic trunk, it is also here, it is related. Behind the brachiocephalic trunk, we have this trachea accompanied by the right vagus nerve. So this is the vagus nerve. Behind the hilum, we have the right side of the right edge of the esophagus. This groove does not extend above and below, but because the esophagus deviates twice on the left side. So this is esophagus. So we have completed the structures related to the mediastinal surface of right lung, hilum in the middle, in front of hilum, cardiac impression caused by right atrium. Above the hilum, arch of Azagas vein. This cardiac impression is continuous above a superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and the superior vena cava in front, above continues as brachiocephalic veins. Behind the brachiocephalic veins, brachiocephalic trunk, then the trachea and the left edge of the esophagus behind. Right phrenic nerve in front of hilum, right vagus nerve behind the hilum. Now we will see the mediastinal surface of left lung, hilum and pulmonary ligament in the middle. So this is the hilum. Again the structures, if you see on the left side from above downwards, pulmonary artery, left principal bronchus and lower pulmonary vein. From before backward, upper pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery and bronchus. Then this is in front of the hilum, cardiac impression, same as right side, but this is more deep, concave than that of the right lung. It is caused by why? It is deep, caused by the muscular left ventricle, mainly by the anterior surface and left surfaces of the left ventricle and left auricle, and a part of the right ventricle. So same as in front of the hilum, left phrenic nerve and pericardiacophrenic vessels. From the upper part of the cardiac impression, we have this. So this part, this impression is the pulmonary trunk, which is related to the right ventricle. Then so this is related to left ventricle and a part of right ventricle. So left ventricle, mainly what is this origin is arch of aorta. So that grooves around the hilum, that is the arch of aorta. So impression for the arch of aorta and its branches above, and then following structures between the arch of aorta and the hilum. Between the arch of aorta and the left lung, following structures are present. Nerves from before backwards, left phrenic nerve, inferior cervical cardiac branch of left vagus, superior cervical cardiac branch of left sympathetic and left vagus nerve. Vein, left superior intercostal vein passes forwards and upwards superficial to the left vagus nerve. So these structures intervene between the arch of aorta and the mediastinal surface of the left lung. From the, if you continue this arch of aorta, what it will be forming? Descending thoracic aorta. So behind the hilum, we have the descending thoracic aorta and the esophagus. So mainly esophagus is related to the left lung than the right lung. So from the arch of aorta, I have told already, it is related to the branches, mainly to the left subclavian artery. That is the left branch. Above the aortic arch and behind the left subclavian artery, that is related to esophagus and thoracic duct. So we have completed the mediastinal surface of the left lung, hilum in the middle, in front of the hilum cardiac impression related to the left ventricle, then above this cardiac impression, pulmonary trunk, above the hilum of the lung, arch of aorta, and arch of aorta is continuous as left subclavian artery, behind the hilum of the lung mainly to the descending thoracic aorta, and above this arch we have the esophagus and the thoracic duct, and in front of the hilum same as right side, left phrenic nerve, and behind the hilum left vagus nerve. If you see the structures in the hilum, it differs on right side and left side. right side we have two bronchi on the hilum, that is one is lobar bronchus, that is tertiary, one is the secondary bronchus, that is lobar bronchus is the secondary bronchus, and this is the principal bronchus. So one is eparterial and another one is hyparterial. On the left side only one principal bronchus enter, which is below the pulmonary artery. So here we don't tell us eparterial and hyparterial. So we have completed the mediastinal surface of both lungs. Now we have to cover the borders. Anterior border, it is thin because it is between the anterior thoracic wall and the pericardium. Posterior border is thick and round because it occupies the paravertebral gutter, and it is related with anterior margin of heads of upper 10 ribs. Anterior border of left lung. Yes, this is the anterior border of the left lung. Follows the same reflection as the right side, but it deviates from the fourth costal cartilage for thereafter for 3.5 centimeter, so forming the cardiac notch. Inferior border is a circumscribed border which separates the base of the lung from the costal and the mediastinal surfaces. So we have completed the presenting parts of the lung: apex, base, costal surface, medial surface, anterior border, posterior border and inferior border. We have to now see the lobes and fissures of the lung. Lobes and fissures of the lung. The right lung presents three lobes, upper, middle and lower lobe, separated by two fissures, oblique fissure and horizontal. So this is the right lung. It presents three lobes. So this is the upper lobe, middle lobe and lower lobe. Here in the left lung there is only two lobes, upper and lower. Fissures are, this is the oblique fissure which is present on both sides, oblique fissure. On the right side only horizontal fissure is present. On the left side there is no horizontal fissure. But the side of the lung should be decided by the apex above and base below and sharp anterior border in front, and not by the lobes and fissures, because the lobes and fissures may vary on the right lung and the left lung. So the oblique fissure is present on both lungs, and this horizontal fissure is present only on the right lung, but variations may be present. So we have completed the lobes, three lobes on right side, two lobes on left side, fissures, two fissures on right side, that is horizontal and oblique, and one fissure on left side, oblique. In this lung we have one more important question may be asked separately, is the bronchopulmonary segments. It was once asked as essay also. So many questions in this mediastinal surface of both lungs may be asked. Bronchopulmonary segments. What is bronchopulmonary segments? The part of the lung aerated by the tertiary bronchi. Each tertiary bronchus is called as bronchopulmonary segments, and there are 10 bronchopulmonary segments on both sides. We have covered this bronchopulmonary segments in a separate video. You go through the bronchopulmonary segment in the separate video, which will be easy for you. It is three-dimensionally given, easy to understand. So we have covered the lungs in detail in this class, covering the presenting parts of the lungs and also the lobes and fissures of the lung. The bronchopulmonary segment is given in the separate video. Those who have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now. We will see the pericardium in the next video. Thank you.